God, what a night. I'm surprised you're still standing. Oh, God. He left a note by the bed. It said, "Awesome, Gail." Oh, hiya, how you doing? What a night, eh? We had some fun. Oh, it said, "Awesome, Gail, you were awesome, sweetheart." It said, "Help yourself to room service. Leave your number. I want to see you again." I can't believe I slept in my shoes. Would you take a look at that? Sharon and I were drunk before we even left the house last night. I fell in love with about 12 guys. I'm sure you're in here somewhere. I showed them my new shoes, Manolo Blahniks, like her from Sex and the City, and one of them said to me that they were my shag me shoes. And I says, "Shag me?" And he says, "Aye, okay then." I have never done this before. I mean, I used to have a drink and that when Fraser was offshore. I'd get a bit drunk, but I'd save myself for him. Get what I mean? I'd save myself. 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Kept our marriage alive. He'd come off that train after his 3 weeks offshore, all pissed and horny. I'd be waiting for him in my sexy gear underneath a big coat so no one would know it. And he said it was like coming home to a big Christmas present on Christmas Day. Except better, because he wouldn't have to sit down and eat with my mother afterwards. I'd slap him for that. Sometimes he'd just pick me up and he'd carry me around the house like Superman. Like Superman. I loved him so much. I wished I could be home all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were times when I wanted to smash his face in. Like he mucked up my routine, kicking about the house. But a wee fight would always clear the air. It was just getting used to each other again, eh? Then we'd be fine. And then I'd go to my work and he'd watch telly, he'd do DIY, he'd play footy with the guys, or he'd work on his car. He's got a rare Ford Capri, a 280, one of only 300. He used to take me for a spin in it between customers at the salon. And you could hear the engine roaring halfway up the high street, and Sharon would say to me, "Has he gone and pricked a hole in that exhaust again?" He loved that car. And a few days before he was due to go back offshore, we'd start giving it, "I wish we could stay home forever, eh? I wish we could stay home forever." After the accident, I took time off my work and I sat with him, and it was like being caught up in someone else's life. But see the intensive care people, see what they did for us. They were amazing. They made us feel special. And when they sent us up to the main ward, the sister there said to me, "Don't imagine he's going to get spoiled like he was down the stairs." Spoiled. He couldn't walk. He couldn't feel anything from the waist down, anything. And when they sent us home, they told us it would be easier to deal with if we didn't think that we would find a cure, that we should try and see the positive side of the whole thing, that life didn't stop because he was in a chair. And life didn't stop right enough, so I got my husband home like I'd always wanted. I got my Fraser home, except he wasn't the same Fraser. That was 2 years ago now. 2 years? It seems like 10. I never went back to my work in the end. I mean, I miss the girls in the salon, but he can't do much without me. I mean, well, some things he can, but he'll not get out unless I take him. It takes us about an hour just to get to the supermarket. He's not the first, and he won't be the last. There's 82% of people with spinal injuries are men. There's many worse than him. But it's his depression that I think I struggle with the most. I tried to help him. I used to take him to the pub to meet his mates, but he'd drink too much, and you see you can't drink as much as before with spinal injuries, so now he stays in the house and he has a smoke and he goes into himself. And the guys at work, they had a whip round. They kept a big pickled egg jar in the mess room with Fraser McCallum written on it, one of these huge big pickled egg jars, and they filled it to the brim with cash, and they said, "Oh, we've had a whip round," and brought it to us not long after he came out of the hospital. And so he calls it his stash fund and says he needs the hash to help him forget that he's a cripple, or to make it more interesting, like. So yesterday we had a row. And I said some things that I didn't mean, except I did, but I didn't, if you ken what I mean, because I'd found this article about sex and spinal injuries on the internet because people still have sex, they still do it, you just need to find new ways. But he thought I was trying to humiliate him, and he told me to go off and find a real man, and I said, "If you don't pick your face up off the floor and stop feeling sorry for yourself, I will." And he called me an ugly bitch, so I phoned my mum, and I asked her to do the night for me. And then I phoned my pal Sharon, because she's always up for a night out, and I've not been out for ages, eh? So here I am, standing in what's-his-face's hotel in my shag me shoes, thinking about the guy I love, feeling ugly inside and out. And I'm so angry. I keep going back to the day it happened, to the few seconds it took for the accident to happen. I mean, what possessed him? Why were the pipes there? Who told him he could move the sacks? And I'm not talking about the official report here. I'm talking about that moment in his head. Did he think he could get away with it? Did he not think? Had he got away with it before? I mean, why had no one changed the batteries in the radio? For Christ's sake. So many small things. How could this have happened? He said that they'd really cleaned up their act in the North Sea. It was all zero tolerance for all risk. Sometimes when he was home, he'd have a drink and he'd tell me the stories of the near misses, and you know what? He'd turn me on. Because I felt proud that my man was out there fighting the elements. Being a man, I loved the macho thing. I loved his rough hands on my body. The HSE guy said that they needed to take down a full account of the incident, that they needed a comprehensive report of the accident, that all LTIs needed a comprehensive report submitted. LTIs, I asked, what's that? Lost time incident, it tells me. Lost time. Costs a lot. Ugh. It's a few seconds of something in Fraser's head. You can see how it happens, eh? I mean, I'll leave the bath running sometimes. I'll leave my keys in the lock. I put the milk in the oven. A few seconds. I've got a flooded bathroom. Got to change the locks because someone's made off with my keys. I've got a lost milk incident. The HSE guy said that they can only make the job so safe, but at the end of the day, it's people that cause the accidents because we're human. Well, I'm human, and I need him to touch me, to make love to me, to make me forget. And Fraser's human. He forgot for a few seconds. He made a bad judgment call. He mucked up. My brilliant, beautiful man. who made me feel like a queen gone because he took one wrong step. A story that won't make it to the nights in the pub where I'd feel proud and lucky and we'd laugh in the face of it all. This time, there was no near miss. This time, we got stung, him and me, down together living this shitty life. A few seconds of human error, half-life. Stuck in a shitty, never-to-end half-life, desperately looking for the answers to the questions which the next victim, and the next victim, and by the way, the next victim, and their wives, and friends, and families, and children will ask over and over again. At the end of the day, most accidents are caused by people. I can't believe I slept in my shoes